This week on Kentucky Afield.
That's a nice bass right there, buddy.
Colton Jennings went from high school bass fisherman to having his own full tackle line in just 3 years. We're on the water catching fish and hearing his story.
I got my start with painting baits and just trying to find something to get a little bit of a competitive advantage.
Next, everybody wants more sport fish. We're visiting with fisheries biologists to find out how they're working to make it happen.
We're making artificial spawning beds.
Then, deer season is right around the corner, and we're ready for it. It's all next on Kentucky Afield.
Such a pretty fish.
Beautiful.
This pond is plumb loaded with frogs.
They're everywhere in here. Yeah, this is a good fish right here. Really good fish.
Come here, girl. Yeah, boy. That's a big rabbit. Nice job. Yes! Yes! My first muskie. Mercy Leo!
Yeah, look at it. It's a keeper.
Here it goes. Boom!
Wow, that happened fast.
Hello, and welcome to Kentucky Afield. I'm your host, Chad Miles. Join us as we journey the Commonwealth in search of outdoor adventure. Kentucky has many great lure manufacturers, but sometimes it's the story behind the lures that can be the most interesting. So Colton, we're down here at Kentucky Lake, and right here we're at is kind of your backyard.
Yeah.
This is kind of where you learn to fish. I know fishing conditions have been a little bit tough lately, but you brought a whole arsenal of tackle.
We brought plenty of stuff to throw from, right now we're fishing up shallow, trying to, catch some in this little bit of bank grass that we got growing on the lake. The last few years, the bank grass has actually kind of repopulated. So It's been a really good thing for the small fish, and I think it's part of what's kind of bringing the lake back a little bit.
Okay, well good. Well, let's go try to catch a couple fish, and I want to talk to you a little bit about all the tackle that you have designed. You don't look old enough to have created a full tackle line, but in fact you have. So let's go catch a fish, show me some of the lures that you have, and hopefully we can put a couple fish in the boat.
That sounds like a plan.
Here we go.
There we go. Perfect.
Look at there. Look
Wow.
what bait I caught that on.
Hey, most people think we're crazy throwing a jerkbait this time of year, but when they ain't on a ledge somewhere, we got to resort to something.
And this is an interesting story because, Colton, this bait is really how I got introduced to Jenko lures, because this color pattern here I have thrown for quite some time. It was a special edition color that was made for Bass Pro Shop. When they quit making that color, I just went on to search for color alone. And this color with this gold and black used to be a color called brownie.
Yep.
I found this bait, and I can tell you, I took this thing up to Wisconsin on a smallmouth fishing trip, and I promise you that lure there has caught well over 60 or 70  4-pound smallies. And I came down here, I thought, well, I got to at least give it a try.
Hey, and it paid off. I'm over here swinging and missing like crazy.
Well, I think I've thrown it 3 times and I've already hooked up on a fish. But this was my introduction to Jenko lures. And I saw they were made in Kentucky, and I thought, hey, Kentucky Bait Company, let's give them a shot. There you go. Got him to commit that time. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
You want that or?
No.
Nice. That's a nice bass right there, buddy.
Thank you.
You could have caught that fish off the bass that I caught a while ago.
And the fish, she's still spawning. It's June. It's what, 2nd week of June?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Look at that, yeah.
It's crazy. We've been sitting here talking about why they're not offshore, and now right there's why. She's still fanning a bed.
There you go.
That's something a lot of people miss on this lake. We're up here fishing shallow. That was under a little walkway on a dock. Let's get her back in the water, get her back going.
So Colton, you actually won the high school national bass fishing championship.
Yep.
What body of water was that on?
Pickwick Lake.
Back then, we're talking high school, were you interested in designing and painting and altering lures?
I got my start with painting baits and just trying to find something to get a little bit of a competitive advantage. I felt like, I think this color will work, or I should mess with this just a little bit, or, tying hair jigs was something that, was big for me. All that stuff piqued my interest in bait making and lure designing and that type of stuff. And I also carve a little bit on the side for kind of a hobby, I guess. So basically my hobby, my life, my business and everything is all basically based off of being a lure junkie.
So your tinkering and painting turned into more than a hobby, literally a career.
Yep.
When you won the high school national championship, that came with some scholarship money, right?
Yeah, 50-something thousand.
$50-something thousand, and
I didn't go.
but you had already decided that, hey, I'm going to do something with lure manufacturing.
Yep.
In a very short amount of time, you've now got distribution in most tackle outlets. And we're talking Bass Pro Shop, Cabela's, and you got some stuff at Walmart, Amazon.
Yep.
How in the world did you gain such quick distribution of your brands?
Something I really focused on was making a really, really quality product for, the right price, but at the same time, it's getting out there and getting in front of people, and making people want to use your stuff. Just getting out there and meeting people and having a good time and fishing with them. And, of course, I don't get to fish with everybody that, buys a lure from me, but I enjoy teaching somebody about fishing. And if that happens to be my lure that they're using, that's just that much better. Like, there's things that I like about certain baits, and back whenever I first got started, I'd sit down with a piece of paper and draw what come out to me that looked like it was a combination of all the things I liked, and that's kind of how it started. From the beginning, it was more of a, I like this about this and that about that, and it's almost now kind of evolved to like, I just like the way something in my mind looks. Like I have an image in my head of what something should look like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm assuming the brand Jenko is a combination of your last name and something else?
Yep, so Jenko actually was spelt Jenco, which is Jennings Company.
Yeah.
We decided the K looked cooler in the logo.
Yeah.
And so the funny thing is the logo is really kind of crazy looking.
Mm-hmm.
So the O is actually my hair, I guess, like all the curls and wildness that I get going on.
Oh, so wait a minute, I see it now. So
Yep.
this is your face, your eyes,
Yep.
and this is all
And
the
then
hair.
all of this. Yep. All that up there.
I hope for your sake and your logo, male pattern baldness doesn't set in.
No, right?
We'll have to take an area of that logo and take it out.
That's what I tell everybody. It's like, when I start going bald, I'm going to shave the logo too.
What's that?
Just like a little walking bait.
Walking bait. What do you call it?
It's called a flea bag.
Okay. There you go. He let you know he was home, didn't he?
Yeah, for sure. It's probably a little smallmouth. Yep, a little smallie.
Is that a smallmouth?
Yep.
Sure is. What do you know? Blew up on that top water bait. Don't let him get you, boy. Those
Yeah,
jumpers
I
are
don't
good
know
for
it.
that, aren't they?
Yeah, they sure are.
Look at the size of that bait versus the size of that fish. I mean, fish will sometimes eat lures literally half their size, and that ain't far from it.
He's got a bad attitude, though.
Born with a bad attitude.
Get back in there, little buddy.
Well, Colton, you truly have a fascinating story, and it's amazing it started right here bass fishing for your local high school. I'm looking forward to see what you produce in the years to come. You're a young man. You got a lot of years left in the tackle industry.
I'm super excited to just keep on trying to innovate something new and come up with new ideas and enjoy my time out here and hang out with you guys,
New materials, new lines, new rods, new technologies always provide new opportunities and new ways to catch fish. And we'll be catching fish in ways we never dreamed of 10 years from now.
It's advanced a lot in just in the last 5.
Absolutely. Well, nice meeting you, man.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hey, it's a pleasure having you on the boat.
Before we get out on the water today, we want to take a minute and show you how to tie an improved clinch knot. It's a very basic knot and one of the easiest ones I know to tie. So we're going to use this white rope, and that's acts as your fishing line. And then we've got this enlarged hook here, just so you can see exactly what we're doing. So the end of the line that you work with is called the tag end. You're going to take the tag end through the eye of the hook and pull it up. Give yourself plenty of room to work with. You can always cut off what's left. So you're going to wrap this around 5 times. And then you're going to take your tag end and go through the loop right at the top of the eye. And when you do that, you're going to create another loop right here where my thumb's at. And you're going to take your tag end, go back through that, and then just cinch it all down together. If you do it right, you can see these loops here that kind of stack up on top of each other. All you gotta do now is just clip off your tag end and you're ready to go fishing. That's how you tie an improved clinch knot. Like I said, it's very simple and it works on any kind of presentation you want.
Let's stay here in Western Kentucky and talk to Adam Martin and hear what the Department of Fish and Wildlife is doing to increase fish recruitment. Today we're at the banks of Kentucky Lake, and I'm here with Adam Martin, and you're the sport fish biologist here in Western Kentucky for the Department of Fish and Wildlife. Tell me a little bit about sport fish biologist. What all species are you looking at?
So essentially, I manage the sport fish in the western 14 counties of Kentucky, primarily Kentucky and Barkley Lake.
So the overall goal is to have healthy fish populations and catchable fish populations so anglers can come down here and enjoy catching fish.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about what you've been studying, because you've been specifically looking at nesting and bedding fish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So our most popular species on Kentucky Lake and Lake Barkley are your black bass, so your largemouth, smallmouth, and spotted bass, as well as crappie, bluegill, red ear. All of those species will make depression nests whenever they spawn during the springtime. So you've seen them, it's a fish making a bed, effectively. Mm-hmm. So that kind of inspired a project, well, what can we do to improve the recruitment of our bass population?
And when you say recruitment, what are you talking about recruitment?
Essentially the numbers of small fish that are entering the lake.
Okay.
What you would do in a small pond is you would improve the spawning habitat. Mm-hmm. So you might add in some rocky material if it was mud and switch things up like that. Well, this obviously isn't a pond, but the same principle should still apply, you just have to do it a lot more. So we've been experimenting with artificial spawning habitat. So we're making artificial spawning beds out of concrete. They're about 32 inches in diameter, and they're bowl-shaped, and we have loose gravel in the bottom of them. They're about 10 to 11 inches tall on the outside. And we're placing those along the shoreline of Kentucky Lake and Lake Barkley in the hopes that fish will use them. And it's largely been pretty successful so far.
When did this program start?
It actually started in early 2019, and we've been contemplating it and trying to figure out what to do since about 2018.
Okay, so now that the program has gotten going, this is something you will continue for a period of time, and there should be some learnings that come from this, right?
Sure. We've got about 500 of these artificial spawning beds in the lake so far.
Okay.
And we've been surveying about 68 of them experimentally by doing snorkel surveys every week for the past 2 years.
Some of these sport fish that you manage spawn at different times.
Mm-hmm.
So you build this perfect nest up there for a black bass species, and the bass come in and they spawn. Then what happens?
So the bass will start spawning around 57 degrees, and they'll continue that activity until about 64 or 65 degrees. After that, you see red ear move in, then you see bluegill, and then finally you see long ear sunfish move in.
Okay.
They're in there starting very early, whenever the red ear are spawning, trying to eat eggs. So if you're in an area and you're only catching sunfish, but it's still early, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because they're there for a reason. Okay. They're there on the nest of those other fish.
And you said they stay to the very end because they spawn last.
Exactly, yeah. And while our usage rates were about 60% for black bass, largemouth and smallmouth, our usage rates on the nest for sunfish was more like 96%.
Wow.
Pretty much every single nest, you can count on there being a fish in it.
The number of fry that are being introduced in the lake because of the spawning habitat, we're talking hundreds of thousands, right?
Oh, easily. A single red ear will produce about 30,000 eggs.
Okay.
Now, survival rates are very low, less than 1%. Yeah. That's the same for every fish.
Yeah.
But, a bluegill has even more eggs. Even a bass, they'll have 12,000. The way that they defend their nests is very different by species. and by the individual fish too. A lot of people think that red deer are extremely skittish, like you have to sneak up there, cast from 40 feet away, and don't splash is kind of the general thought process. That's not what I've seen, snorkeling on them. If you're right there on their nest, they'll stand there and look at you.
Hold the ground, huh?
A bluegill is much more skittish.
Okay.
They'll leave, circle back. A long-ear sunfish, they tend to be pretty aggressive too, so they'll stay right there and defend their nest.
Hopefully, we can figure out why certain nests are being used and why some are not, and then help that natural habitat so that the bass have more options for spawning, as well as bluegill and red ear and all those other species, correct? Mm-hmm. Well, this is great information, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how the phone calls and the reports for catches correlate to the success of the spawns. They match this data up in a couple years. This could be cutting edge stuff.
Yeah, we hope it helps.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
The 2020 Kentucky deer archery season is right around the corner, and now's the time to start getting ready. Ballard,
Good to see you, Chad.
good to see you. Hey, thanks for letting us have permission to deer hunt out here this year. I am really excited about checking out this piece of property.
We're excited to have you out here with us.
Tell me a little bit about this property.
Well, the property, we bought it in 1995. We've been trying to manage it for wildlife. We try to harvest a lot of does. It's a Zone 1 county. We have a lot of a proliferation of does, and we try to shoot between 20 and 30 does every year.
For someone who hears you guys take 20 does, that sounds like a lot of does, but man, we just ran some cards looking at photos on some cameras. You really could stand to take more because these deer are in great health. We've seen a lot of triplets, and deer can repopulate so fast.
Frankly, I like seeing big deer, big mature bucks. And I've found that if you don't keep a handle on your doe population, that it hurts that prospect.
It's late September. We're starting to make the transition from our evening hunts being in the fields to a little more in the woods. We have a beautiful stand set right here. The problem with this set is it's at the end of a very narrow, about 300 yards long food plot. The only way to get to it is to walk down through the food plot or to cross this pond. The way the wind's blowing tonight's perfect. It's coming right out the food plot, and it'll blow my scent right over this pond, and I don't foresee a deer swimming to me, so I'm going in by canoe. I'm gonna canoe across this pond, down a little ways. That'll get me right in close to my tree. My wind's gonna be blowing right from the food plot, right over the pond. It should be a perfect set. Super stoked about this. The weather's been really hot, and it's finally cooled off a little bit. So it's gonna get down in the 60s while we're in the woods. Deer should be moving. I just got in here and got settled in. This food plot is right up here, and that's where I expect the deer to be migrating to. I'm right on the edge of the woods. As you can see, right behind me is the water. So my wind is blowing right straight to where I came in from. If a deer comes between me and that water, it's gotta be really close, and if my wind blows out over the lake, I'm not too concerned about it. I'm expecting to see deer walk in around here and head right toward that food plot. This is a good spot to find a buck. But if a doe comes through by herself early, I will take it. I'll settle in, let the woods quiet. Hopefully I have some luck. about 2.5 hours before dark. We're gonna let the woods settle back down and see what happens. Well, here she is. We saw this deer fall straight where we shot it. So, what a nice doe. We got in here this evening, came in by canoe, very quiet, had a very little scent trail. This deer comes in, and she was on this trail. Right when I took the shot, there's about a 5-foot difference between me and the camera, and unfortunately it was right behind a hickory tree. And we didn't get to see the impact, but the deer went down right there. Wow, did we see a bunch of deer tonight? They were everywhere. This spot is really, really hot. What an exciting hunt. I'm gonna get this deer, get it out, and be in the spot again soon. Well, we're back out in our same set that we killed a doe in last hunt. I'm hoping to see a lot of deer. Hopefully that big buck shows up. If a single doe shows up early in the hunt, I will take it. The wind is perfect. This should be a good hunt. Deer. Oh, here she is, right here. All right. Man, I'm shocked this deer went as far as it did with that shot. Very happy to have this deer. It's my third doe of the year. This will allow me to fill the freezer. I'll be hunting for antlers. We were buck hunting tonight after we took this deer. We had 2 bucks that came in on us. There's an 8-pointer and a 6-pointer, and they met right in front of us. I was worried that as much as they stayed around in front of us, that they may get below us and wind us. They never did. They kind of played around a little bit. Thank goodness we decided to put that stand in a location that's really not far from the water. We've had very few deer walk below us, and in a north wind like we're getting tonight, perfect. I tell you, the canoe is paying off. I'm gonna get this one out, get it in the canoe and get it back. I'm really excited to have this deer.
Now let's check in and see who else has been out having fun in this week's Ones That Didn't Get Away. Here we have a nice buck taken by Luke Medley in Hardin County. He shot this deer on his dad's farm. Congratulations. Here we have Ethan Hagan with his first buck ever taken on the family farm in Henderson, Kentucky. Nice job. Here we have Clayton Sims who took this nice 8-point buck with his pawpaw in Holy Cross, Kentucky. Nice job. Here we have Patrick Bowser with a nice catfish caught in Scott County, Kentucky. This fish was 19.5 pounds and 36 inches long. Nice job. Here we have 2 proud young hunters, brothers and sisters Ella and Seth Smallwood of Menifee County. This was Ella's very first hunt ever. Congratulations. Here we have Travis Jones from Lexington, Indiana, who took this deer, an impressive 15-point buck with his bow. Nice job. 9-year-old Jackson Rader shot his very first deer in Owen County on opening day of modern firearm season. Nice job. Check out this nice striped bass caught by Timothy Jackson of Gray, Kentucky. Congratulations. Here we have Dana Moody who killed this nice buck in Jefferson County. Nice job. We're over halfway through the Kentucky boating season. Let's try to finish this year safe and wear our life jackets. And remember, hunting and fishing on private property is a privilege. Always ask permission and thank the landowner. Until next week, I'm your host, Chad Miles, and I hope to see you in the woods or on the water.